Goodbye.
Potato.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Kendall Gilding.
Good afternoon. Our top stories on 7 this Thursday. Happening now, police shoot a man accused of stealing several cars at knife point in an Oxley shopping centre. This is no holiday. Major roads to be monitored for drivers travelling too far this Easter in new measures to force Queenslanders to stay at home. Then there was one. Bernie Sanders ends his run for president, leaving Joe Biden to take on Donald Trump. And countdown to Easter. Crowds line up for supplies as religious leaders tap into modern technology to deliver services of hope. We begin with news just unfolding in Brisbane's west, where a man has been shot by police after allegedly attempting to steal 3 cars at knife point. Mac Lyon, the man was taken away in an ambulance.
That's right, Kendall. I've just spoken to police. The latest is that he is in a critical condition after being shot by police. Now, this all unfolded just before 2 o'clock here on Oxley Station Road. It all started when that man who was driving a stolen Camry crashed up the back of this Jaguar just behind me. That man then got out of the vehicle with a knife and has taken off down Oxley Station Road towards the food works. Just over to my left here, a young woman, was inside the food works. She was buying a few items before heading to work. She has walked out to her car. That is when she's been confronted by the offender with that knife. He has jumped in her car and tried to take off, but another witness who saw this all unfolding, he has tried to step in front of that vehicle to stop the offender. He has then been mowed down by this vehicle. The offender has then crashed into another vehicle and taken off on foot down Station Road. That's where he was confronted by police, who were left with no choice. When the man ran at them with that knife, they were forced to open fire. As I said, he has been taken to hospital. He is in a critical condition under police guard, but we are awaiting a press conference from police in the next 10 to 15 minutes to give us the latest details.
We'll check back in with you if you have any updates. Thanks, Mac Lyon. We're being warned it'll be an Easter like no other as police crack down on people doing the wrong thing. Even tighter border restrictions and random licence checks will be employed to stop the coronavirus spreading. Joel Dry explains.
Well, Easter is normally a very busy time on the roads as many of us look to get away for the long weekend. But like so many things at the moment, this upcoming holiday will be like nothing we have seen before. Police will be out in force, particularly along the M1, paying close attention to Brisbane residents heading south to the Gold Coast. Licence plate recognition technology will be employed to search and stop some of the owners, making sure they are doing the right thing. As well as that, the border has been tightened further. Now, everyone, even Queenslanders, will require a border pass to come back into the state.
Do the right thing and stay in Queensland. You should be at your principal place of residence. You should not be travelling.
Sadly, there are still people looking to holiday within the state by heading across to some of the Bay Islands, including Stradbroke Island. That is now banned, with only locals allowed onto ferries. But the Redlands Mayor says Brisbane residents are changing their address on their licence to a Straddy address to sneak past the blockade.
My message to those sort of people is, can you just be a bit serious about this? This is really serious.
Again, we're being told that these measures are designed for our own safety and to keep infections down. Overnight, there were just 10 new cases, and that low figure comes even after testing criteria were eased. 3,000 tests were done yesterday alone, and the positive rate continues to fall. And that is good news as we all prepare for an Easter that should be spent at home.
And now the state government is introducing new measures to protect landlords and renters of both commercial and private properties. Land taxes will be waived for landlords for 3 months and deferred for another 3, while for renters, evictions will be prohibited for the next 6 months.
Those experiencing domestic and family violence who have to do that will not suffer any ongoing liability. They will be able to change locks. They will be able to upgrade security features to the property, and they'll be able to do that without seeking approval first. More information can be found on the state government's new COVID-19 website.
A team of police investigators has boarded the cruise ship Ruby Princess, gathering evidence critical to the criminal investigation. The team also spoke to the vessel's captain, who the New South Wales Police Commissioner said was extremely helpful.
Ships have a black box very similar to that of international planes, and that and other evidence has been seized.
More than 1,000 crew remain on board, a quarter of whom are unhappy they're still there. The UK's Prime Minister remains in intensive care after being diagnosed with COVID-19. He's showing signs of improvement as Britain faced another grim milestone with more than 900 people dying from the disease overnight. Hugh Whitfeld reports from London.
Boris Johnson remains here at St Thomas's Hospital in the ICU. This is considered one of the best hospitals in London. He's being seen to by the best lung doctor in Britain. The Prime Minister is no longer working. He's on oxygen, but he is not or has not been put on a ventilator. Downing Street saying that he continues to make steady progress. And we've been given this update by the British Chancellor.
The latest from the hospital is that the Prime Minister remains in intensive care, where his condition is improving. I can also tell you that he has been sitting up in bed and engaging positively with the clinical team.
Rishi Sunak there saying that the Prime Minister's illness reminds us that this virus respects no boundaries of status or geography. Proof of that here in Britain. In the last 24 hours, 938 people have been killed by the virus across the UK. Deaths in England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. It is the worst day in Britain of this crisis so far, worse than any of the days that Italy experienced, and it's considered the epicentre in Europe of the coronavirus crisis. It takes the British death toll now to more than 7,000. There is some hope, though, provided, of course, by the Queen in that historic broadcast earlier in the week. It is now emblazoned across the famous billboards at Piccadilly Circus. It is unfortunate, though, that very few people get to see it in person because of the lockdown here.
The World Health Organization has called on the US president to not politicise the coronavirus pandemic. Donald Trump has threatened to pull the health body's funding, calling it China-centric. Ashley Mullaney has the story.
Good afternoon. Donald Trump has continued his attacks on the World Health Organization, accusing it of acting too slowly to stem the spread of coronavirus and for favouring China. The president has threatened to withhold funding from the WHO over its response to COVID-19. Today, the organisation's Director General fired back.
Please don't politicise this virus. If you don't want many more body bags, then you refrain from politicising it.
The tensions come as New York heads into the apex of the pandemic, recording 779 deaths in a single day. The state now has more confirmed cases than any other country in the world. It's a crisis that's changed every aspect of American life and will likely dominate November's election, shaping up now as a two-horse race between Donald Trump and Joe Biden after Democratic Socialist Bernie Sanders withdrew.
But as I see the crisis gripping the nation, exacerbated by a president unwilling or unable to provide any kind of credible leadership, and the work that needs to be done to protect people in this most desperate hour, I cannot, in good conscience, continue to mount a campaign that cannot win and which would interfere with the important work required of all of us in this difficult hour.
For now, the country's focus remains fixed on the health and economic impact of the coronavirus, with signs now that New York could be flattening the curve with social distancing, but the number of victims, those who've been infected for weeks, continues to grow.
The federal government has announced a plan to bring home thousands of Australians stranded overseas by the coronavirus fallout. One flight is already on its way. Tim Lester has the story.
Easter evacuations for Australians wanting to come home. The federal government has confirmed a flight is currently on its way via Santiago for Melbourne with 280 aboard, mainly Australians, though some New Zealanders. They've been picked up from 3 centres around Peru. Foreign Affairs Minister Marise Payne says a deal with Qantas will enable more flights from Peru, Argentina and South America to bring Australians back. She says Australians were being warned from mid last month that they needed to get home.
We are also exploring similar options to facilitate flights from other destinations in the coming weeks. We'll continue to work on getting Australians home in a way that is safe for them and also safe for Australians in Australia.
This as the federal government confirms a milestone in lowering COVID-19 infection rates. Just 96 cases reported, new cases, in the last 24 hours in Australia. The first time that figure has been below 100 in more than 3 weeks. That milestone applauded by Health Minister Greg Hunt as the Science Minister Karen Andrews announced a new initiative to produce 2,000 new ventilators. A consortium led by a Victorian company will do the work for $31.3 million and deliver the ventilators in June and July.
So we believe that we have in track sufficient capacity to make sure that we are able to provide the units that we need to ICUs across Australia.
This as the federal government encourages Australians to stay home in coming days. Health Minister Greg Hunt says the Easter break may be our single most important weekend in the fight against COVID-19.
Cardinal George Pell is settling into life outside prison after completing his journey from Melbourne to Sydney. He's staying at a church property in Homebush. Tom Saker has more.
Good afternoon. No, there is still no sign of Cardinal Pell here at his newest accommodation, the Seminary of the Good Shepherd. After he arrived here around 9 o'clock last night to Sydney, there really is no valid reason for George Pell to leave his newest accommodation that could be considered essential or legal, and the same goes for visitors. They would all have to be considered non-essential. So at this time, his only encounter with the outside world was when he was met by 7 News at a Victorian service station yesterday during his commute up the Hume Highway. We spoke to some of Pell's new neighbours this morning who don't seem too fazed by his arrival, even if it is permanent.
He's a free man. I'm happy to hear that he is free and he can live a happy life now.
We're not real happy at all. Just kind of release him like this doesn't really seem to be kind of in the public's best interest.
The question now is how Pell will spend the rest of his time. Will he retire to the garden here in Sydney or resume some sort of responsibility at the church? And given Pope Francis's tweet yesterday where he came out in support of Pell and his release, it is more than likely that Pell could resume some backroom role within the church.
The heartbroken parents of a Gold Coast University student are hopeful of finding justice after he was left for dead in his Miami bed. 2 police officers charged 5 years after Charlie Robertson's death have had their case heard in court. Jess Mummy was there.
Well, Charlie Robinson had his whole life ahead of him when he passed away. He was only 19 years old when he was found unconscious in his Miami bedroom in 2015. Police spent 90 minutes raiding the apartment, searching for one of his flatmates.
Well, he's breathing. He's snoring. Yeah, but he's passed out.
Officers left without providing medical assistance to the Bond University student who later died.
They walked away from our unconscious son and left him for dead.
It's very painful. It's nearly 5 years since we lost our wonderful son, Charlie.
An inquest into Charlie's death found police acted inappropriately. 2 senior constables, Grant Watkins and Blake Sullivan, were charged with perjury and common assault. Today, the case was mentioned for the first time. The officers who've been stood down didn't attend.
We need either the police minister, the Queensland police, and or the commissioner of police to come out and state that no police can ever walk away from somebody that is in an unconscious state and can't be raised.
Charlie's parents, Rose and Graham, say it has been a painful process to get to this point, but they're vowing to attend every court hearing to find justice for Charlie.
Ahead on 7's afternoon news, the threat of coronavirus didn't stop the rush on Easter goodies. The way suppliers are adapting to make sure shoppers can get what they need safely. The university changing the criteria for how school students can qualify for their courses, and why the search for a missing swimmer has been suspended.
On 7 News, Easter shutdown. Drivers on highways now being targeted. The rush for seafood, plus all set for church services online. The rescue plan for renters and landlords. A Brisbane dad's tribute to his son after a shark attack. And check your insurance policies now. Work from home families saving hundreds. 7 News at 6.
With each coronavirus development comes more confusion.
There's been no clear direction from the government.
That's why every night, get the latest.
Infection rates are continuing to slow.
Breaking down what you need to know.
Good news for charities, not so much for casual workers.
The latest from 7 News, every night.
Titan don't just do houses, they do tiny houses too, Dad.
It's the perfect granny flat or a weekender, son.
1 bedroom, 1 floor plan, relocatable and factory built by Titan.
You don't have to be a tiny person to live in a tiny Titan house, son. It's got everything you need.
Titan create the house, you build the home. Call 13 27 36 for the Titan Display Centre near you.
You'll be lucky you got a Titan house.
Group 1 racing is at its best on day 2 of the championships. Get 10 bet returns this Saturday to use on any track, any race. So if your horse runs 2nd or 3rd, get your bet returned in bonus bets. Bet easy. Raise your game.
Save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz comprehensive car insurance policy online.
Hey, good to go.
Thanks. Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
JB's got the hottest deals to keep you connected. Like $200 off the latest Samsung Galaxy S25 phone. This Acer 3 laptop for $11.99. And 40% off Sony headphones. Buy in-store, online, click and collect, or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
Gorilla Superglue has a fix for every project. Original and precise gel for the toughest jobs on planet Earth. Gorilla Tape, double thick adhesive, rugged outer shell for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready, dog. Get ready. Ready, set, jump to the rhythm as hard as you can go. Get ready.
When something goes wrong and you're injured on the road, you need the right advice. Contact Shine Lawyers to access compensation through your superannuation.
Yeah, I've heard Shine can help.
Shine Lawyers, let's right wrong.
Oh, yes, thanks. I just fell out of my hand. Thank you.
See you later. Come on, kids.
Helga's mixed grain. It's not just bread, it's Helga's.
Today, parents face constant judgment. But none of that matters. Because when your baby is happy and healthy, you know your way is the right way. So you can feel as comfortable in your skin as your baby's skin feels in Huggies nappies.
It must be love, love, love. Nothing more, nothing less.
Huggies. Be comfortable in your skin.
Group 1 racing is at its best on day 2 of the championships. Get 10 bet returns this Saturday to use on any track, any race. So if your horse runs 2nd or 3rd, get your bet returned in bonus bets. Bet easy. Raise your game.
If the unexpected happens, capture it and lodge a quick and easy online claim with Amy.
Mikey's actually in the room.
You're with Amy.
Police have suspended their search for a young woman who disappeared on Monday while swimming in a rock pool south of Cairns. 18-year-old Madison Tam was with friends when she failed to resurface from the water at Babinda Boulders. Police say recent heavy rain has made it unsafe to search.
So it's very deep, it's travelling very fast, and there are cavities submerged underneath the rocks that it's just not safe to search completely.
Depending on conditions, a search along the banks of the creek is expected to resume tomorrow. One of Australia's leading universities will take their next crop of graduates based on Year 11 results in response to the chaos caused by COVID-19. Australian National University is already taking applications for 2021 and will give students unconditional offers.
We know that we can predict someone's ATAR to
a very high fidelity.
High school students still have to finish Year 12. The pandemic has forced some states to delay end-of-year exams. Despite restrictions around leaving the house, plenty of people were out today joining lines for Easter seafood. Others have found a way to plan a feast while staying safe. Tristan Vorius explains.
Well, away from the seafood markets, home delivery services were just as busy, with plenty of people opting out of the Easter crowds. Just in the last 2 weeks, Quality Food and Beverage has dropped off 1.8 tonnes of fruit and veg and 1.7 tonnes of pasta.
This week's been especially busy coming into Easter. Lots of seafood, lots of meat for the weekend.
I braved the supermarket earlier this week and I had to queue, and then I had to keep my social distance. And then when I finally got to the shelves, there was nothing there that I wanted.
COVID-19 didn't deter everyone though. Lines for seafood on the Mooloolaba Spit were long. Customers weren't allowed inside, instead making a selection from looking at seafood on a TV screen outside.
For now, this is the way we have to do things, and we need to adapt to it and we need to change with the times.
At Gold Coast trawlers, lines were just as big as many tried to practice social distancing.
They're the best prawns over here, so highly recommend.
We picked up some green prawns, some fresh prawns, some oysters, some salmon.
Seafood stores here in Brisbane were also busy, with everyone rushing to stockpile for the long weekend to eat up at home.
Well, for a quick look at the weather now, here's Bertie.
Hey, thanks for that, Kendall. Hello, everybody. Now, a normal line at the trawlers is around about 100 metres. It does get quite busy. Now, 1.5 metre space distancing. We're talking lines tomorrow morning could be around 500 metres, so make sure you get early and keep your distance. And of course, if you're going camping, you might want to put the tarp up in the backyard, because that's where you'll be doing it. A couple of showers on the forecast. We had a few millimetres falling around the southeast today. A few more forecasts throughout the evening tonight. Let's take a look at today's temperatures, where it climbed to around 26 degrees for the Sunshine Coast and, of course, Redlands. 27 for the Gold Coast, Logan and in the city. 28 degrees for those in the Western Districts around Ipswich, and 29 for our friends at Gatton and Kendall. It looks as though we're going to be in for a great Easter weekend for the barbie. Again, I'm going to keep plugging it because there's not much else we can do, but the Easter Bunny will be coming on Sunday. Perfect weather.
And we'll all be at home to enjoy. Thank you, Bertie. Still to come, the Commonwealth JobKeeper package passes Parliament. So when will the first payments reach struggling businesses and their employees? The Duke and Duchess check in on school children of essential workers. And later, one woman's innovative idea to bring Easter cheer to the elderly in isolation.
We've been through tough times before, but this one touches all of us.
We're all in this together. What will make the difference is to do our bit.
Simple actions like staying at home, keeping our distance,
washing our hands,
looking out for others.
That will help save lives
and get us back to our normal way of life.
And 7 News will be there with you every step of the way.
Release the beast! Beautiful lion! Justin Bieber!
Rebel Wilson's Pooch Perfect. Tonight on 7.
A lot has changed over the last few months, but globally, Allianz Group's commitment to serving its 100 million customers around the world hasn't. As part of this global network, Allianz Australia has been supporting our customers through uncertainty and change for over 100 years. So you can rely on us to be here for you now and in the future to ensure what matters most. Because our support doesn't stop here.
Here at Set for Life, our Division 1 winners don't just win once. They win 20k every month for 20 years. Set for Life, it's 20k on replay.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
Feel masterful. Sultana brand. Full-on days start with full-on fibre.
We finally got this home for our family. We need to protect it all no matter what.
Well, I've read some reviews. I think we should do one simple thing: you get real life insurance.
With real life insurance, your family would receive a cash payment from $100,000 up to $1 million if you passed away. And our claims process is as stress-free as possible with our award-winning Australian-based team. Call 137 025 or search Real Life Insurance.
Easy on yourself.
When cold and flu symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes and lasts for up to 8 hours. Nurofen for children.
Before you choose the bench tops and basins or the doors and floors, think about an even bigger decision, the frame that holds everything up. A house frame made with true core steel has the inner strength and durability to remain straight and true for you and your family now and in the future. To find builders using true core steel, visit truecore.com.au.
Keith?
So, have you had the jab?
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? Then we wouldn't have to wait so long. Wouldn't it be nice to live together in the kind of world we belong? Wouldn't it be nice?
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
JB's got the hottest deals to keep you connected. Like $200 off the latest Samsung Galaxy S25 phone. This Acer 3 laptop for $11.99. And 40% off Sony headphones. Buy in-store, online, click and collect, or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
With the government's $130 billion JobKeeper package now through Parliament, more than 750,000 businesses are waiting in line for the money. However, casuals who haven't been employed for at least a year won't qualify. Chris Marr reports.
Well, if they haven't already done so, businesses are scrambling to register for the JobKeeper program as debate continues as to whether it captures enough employees. Now, having passed the federal parliament last night, the $130 billion package is a big hope for COVID-affected business and workers. 750,000 of businesses have registered and are now waiting to see if they'll be approved for assistance. Fortnightly payments of $1,500 per worker up to a 6-month period. The first payments, though, are not expected to flow until next month. That means many businesses will be retaining staff at their own expense. It's a leap of faith as they wait to see whether they qualify for assistance. In some cases, their trading may have stopped or even severely reduced. It's relief for workers already laid off and warned that they might be. Many businesses relying on casual staff say the JobKeeper will do little to keep them afloat and jobs in place.
Well, it's non-existent for us. We do have some staff that have been here for more than 12 months. However, because of their visa, they don't qualify for the JobKeeper.
The JobKeeper package comes with new figures showing just how badly COVID-19 has smashed employment. According to new Seek figures, job advertisements in the last week have plummeted by 65%.
Tokyo's first day under COVID lockdown has had a mixed take-up rate. The usually frenzied crosswalk in front of Shibuya Station was nearly empty, so too were other famous sites. But train stations were still crowded with commuters. A month-long state of emergency in Tokyo and 6 other jurisdictions has come with a stay-at-home request rather than an order. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have dropped in on some UK school children who are still in class because their parents are essential workers. Of course, it was a virtual visit with the kids showing off some of their arts and crafts.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Look at your flowers, they're brilliant.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Is that a little handbag?
No.
What's that? Oh, it's an Easter bag.
Prince Charles and Camilla are marking their 15th wedding anniversary, the couple spending it in isolation in Scotland. We'll farewell our Gold Coast viewers now. You're off to the chase. Rod and Amanda have your local news at 5:30. For the rest of Queensland, tensions are high, but is that an excuse for fighting? The supermarket staff member spat on by a customer calls for charges to be laid on both sides. How religious leaders will reach the faithful this Easter with social distancing restrictions in place. And even the world's wealthiest people can't escape the impacts of COVID-19. So who topped this year's rich list?
On 7 News, Easter shutdown. Drivers on highways now being targeted. The rush for seafood, plus all set for church services online. The rescue plan for renters and landlords. A Brisbane dad's tribute to his son after a shark attack. And check your insurance policies now. Work from home families saving hundreds. 7 News at 6.
Easter is upon us, and boy, it's certainly going to be a different way to celebrate Easter than we're used to.
Make sure you spread the love. Spread heaps and heaps of love.
But whatever you do, make sure you keep the Easter eggs to yourself.
Share the Easter spirit, but don't share my chocolates.
Remember, we're going to get through this.
We are all in this together.
You are not in this alone.
Take good care of yourselves.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Hey Les, every day at The Good Guys. Get 20% off this Viali dishwasher, $100 off this DeLonghi coffee machine, $150 off this Samsung phone, 29% off this Unident CCTV camera pack. Loads more online in our catalogue, only at The Good Guys. Ornamental side pipes. Incredibly shiny rims. Glitter-dusted grille and hood sculpture. You'll find none of this on the new Skoda Kodiaq RS. With a bi-turbocharged engine that packs a serious punch, this is performance that's not for show. Skoda, simply clever.
Queensland Rehab. Your well-being and quality of life is our priority. As an essential service, let us come to you for trials or deliveries at home or care facilities, so you still have access to our range of mobility scooters or walkers. If you need a hand getting out of your chair, electric lift chairs and recliners. We also have beds and other medical products, plus everyday utensils to make life a whole lot easier. Queensland Rehab, delivering throughout southeast Queensland.
At Harvey Norman, our spacious stores are open this Easter, with our team practicing social distancing to keep our community safe. Shop for fridges, freezers, washers, air purifiers, laptops, Wi-Fi, headphones, home office accessories, mattresses and sofa beds. Until Easter Monday only, take advantage of 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card. Visit us in-store or shop online from home, with both click and collect and delivery available at Harvey Norman. Wishing you all a happy and safe Easter.
Go big this month at the Straco Big Sale. Get 72 months interest-free with nothing to pay for the first 12 months on Straco patios, sheds and ambient blinds. Or get a bonus barbecue. T's and C's apply. So, you bring the dream, Straco will bring the how-to.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Kendall Gilding.
Thanks for joining us. Making news this Thursday. An armed man has been shot and critically wounded by police after allegedly trying to carjack 3 vehicles at Oxley in Brisbane. A female driver was threatened at knife point and a hero bystander tried to intervene as the drama
officer
unfolded.
attempted to negotiate with the man. I understand that he discharged a taser. It's my understanding that that was not successful. He was then threatened with the knife where he feared for his safety, and he discharged a number of rounds from his police-issued pistol. Ambulance were called and the man's been transported to hospital.
More on this developing story in 7 News at 6. In other news, the federal government has done a deal with Qantas to bring home thousands of stranded Australians from around the world. 280 Australians are on a flight here from South America right now. And Queensland will give tax breaks to landlords who help tenants struggling to pay their rent. The package is aimed to help commercial and residential tenancies. The first flight from the coronavirus epicentre of Wuhan has arrived in Australia. The cargo plane landed in Sydney around 9 o'clock last night, the first since late January. It delivered 90 tonnes of protective masks, gowns and ventilators, which will be unloaded away from the passenger terminal. Tough restrictions on travel were only lifted in Wuhan yesterday. New South Wales has just introduced a $5,000 fine for anyone who spits on a frontline worker during this pandemic. The new rule comes after a woman was charged for attacking a Coles worker on the state's south coast, leaving her with facial injuries.
Well, tensions here at this Coles supermarket at Vincentia on the New South Wales south coast boiled over yesterday afternoon when a worker was allegedly spat on and attacked by a customer. The 49-year-old customer service manager was left with broken blood vessels after being eye gouged and scratches to her arms. The drama started when a 35-year-old woman allegedly abused staff when they turned her away from entering the rear of the store, which had been set up as an exit due to social distancing laws. She was sent around the front where the assistant manager then refused her entry for the way she spoke to her staff members, and that's when police allege the shopper spat in her face. A fight then started and both women were left injured. The shopper is now facing charges of common assault occasioning actual bodily harm and damaging property.
I just don't have words. I keep going back to what happened and thinking, why would you do something like that? It's wrong. I just can't get my head around it.
I hope the court throws the book at these people, I truly do.
Now, I've spoken with family members of the accused who say they'd also like to see the worker charged. Police are now reviewing security video, but say at this stage, no further action is expected.
Church services across southeast Queensland will look very different this Easter. Instead of switching off, congregations are going online at a time many need hope. Georgie Chumley has more.
It's a holiday that's been observed for 2,000 years, but churches are using modern methods to continue Easter traditions and services in this era of COVID-19. St John's Anglican Cathedral in the city usually seats 700 to 800 people. Tomorrow there'll be just a handful, a different experience for the Dean, Reverend Dr Peter Catt.
We know their faces, so we find ourselves imagining them being present, but it's a very different sort of energy.
Got to imagine that you're reaching through the screens at home into the homes of people.
Churches have been closed to congregations for 3 weeks, allowing St Stephen's Cathedral Father Anthony Mellor some time to get used to delivering his sermon differently.
I think anything that builds connection for people at the moment is very important. We have our live streaming cameras that you often struggle to work out which camera to look at, so that's an entirely different skill.
We'll tell you where you can watch online tonight on 7 News at 6.
The woman who revealed the affair between US President Bill Clinton and White House intern Monica Lewinsky has died from pancreatic cancer. Linda Tripp secretly recorded conversations with her friend Lewinsky. The tapes led to President Clinton's impeachment in 1998. Tripp died overnight at the age of 70. Let's check finance with James Towell at CommSec. James, how did shares close out the holiday-shortened week?
Yeah, very good afternoon to you, Kendall. We saw a pretty solid end to what is the Easter shortened week, the ASX 200, making up for losses over the previous 2 days, up about 180 points today, or 3.5%, and bookending the week with gains. We had pretty much broad-based gains over the entire market, all sectors in positive territory. Some of the standouts coming through from our travel stocks, which have, of course, been hit quite hard due to the coronavirus. Qantas today up around 9.5%. Retail is also doing very well. Manchester retail chain Adairs up around 17%. The banks also turning around some pretty heavy losses yesterday. And the Aussie dollar hovering around 62 US cents.
Good to end the week a bit strong. Thanks so much, James. A record-breaking divorce payout hasn't stopped Amazon founder Jeff Bezos from once again being crowned the richest person in the world. He's currently worth more than 180 billion Australian dollars, 30 billion less than last year. This year's Forbes list has less billionaires than usual as the coronavirus impact cuts into fortunes. However, the CEO of video conferencing company Zoom has rocketed onto the list for the first time. The Day Sport with Pat Welsh is coming up, including the NRL's money woes, plus escaping disaster. Australians arrive home from the South Pacific Islands devastated by Tropical Cyclone Harold. And names needed for a special Easter arrival in Ipswich. Queensland needs you.
Join our Care Army to help 1 million seniors through the corona crisis.
Together, we can get through this.
He's solving crime with a bit of help from the Almighty.
I only want to uncover the truth.
On the home of great British mysteries, Father Brown, tonight on 7/2. Then he'll do whatever it takes.
There is no road I would not cross.
To deliver justice.
The more powerful you get, the worse you behave.
The crims.
Investigated.
The cops.
You tried to choke him, Sir John.
He'd better watch his back. Judge John Deed, tonight after Father Brown on 7/2.
While we're all parked for a while, Lexus isn't. We're still committed to anticipating your needs. So we're here for you, because us putting you first and you counting on us is more important now than ever.
Anaconda's massive 20 to 50% off store-wide sale is on now. Huge savings on camping gear, bikes, kayaks, fishing gear, clothing, footwear and more. Some exclusions apply. 20 to 50% off sale on now at Anaconda.
This is Doc. Make some assumptions about what he values. Doc is an emotional intelligence expert. He doesn't like things that don't make sense. So when it comes to value, Doc likes to pay the right price for the right product. That's why he likes Yui. You can tailor your premium so you pay the right price. At Yui, we don't assume what our clients value, we listen. It's insurance for individuals like Doc. Yui. You insured.
Get Vodafone NBN with 4G backup. Plans start from just $65 a month. And with free express delivery, connect instantly once you receive it. Buy online today at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
Now's the perfect time to buy a Titan, because the price of steel is about to go up, and the boss has over 400 tonne of steel to clear at today's prices. But when it's gone, so get in quick. Buy this month, and you also get free colour roof and walls with all buildings, plus this unreal stainless steel workbench. Don't miss out. Beat the price rise and save. And remember, Titan are the manufacturer.
Call 13 27 36 for the Titan Display Centre near you. You'll be lucky you got a Titan.
Today, your information is more exposed than ever. You could be vulnerable to cyber criminals. That's why Norton 360 provides multiple layers of protection. Get Norton 360. Go to au.norton.com for special offers. Terms apply.
If the unexpected happens, capture it and lodge a quick and easy online claim with Amy.
It's like he's actually in the room.
You're with Amy.
Most teams wouldn't dare to do it.
Really?
Will it smash the record books?
Anything can happen.
The Chase, weekdays on 7.
Fiji and Tonga are the latest to be battered by Cyclone Harold as it moves across the Pacific. Vanuatu suffered extensive damage from the Category 5 system. Australians holidaying in the islands have been flown home on a chartered jet and put straight into quarantine. Steve Titmus reports.
Well, good afternoon. The final destination for those flown to Australia was here at the Marriott Hotel in the Brisbane CBD. The flight, chartered by the United States government, first took Americans to Hawaii, then brought 100 Australians here to Brisbane. It touched down shortly after 1 o'clock.
All the teams are focused on making sure that passengers still have a good experience, because a lot of those people are anxious, they're nervous, they're going home, they're forced to go home.
After going through customs, they were loaded onto buses and brought here to the Marriott. Cyclone Harold, a Category 5 cyclone, flattened much of Vanuatu, with reports of one death. There were wind gusts of 235 kilometres an hour that blasted the islands. Cyclone Harold was downgraded once he landed on Fiji, but still, many buildings were damaged and there's been dangerous flooding across Fiji's largest island, Viti Levu. For those people brought here to Brisbane, they are in good spirits. They will now be placed in quarantine in the Marriott Hotel for the next 14 days.
Well, Pat Welsh joins me now for a quick look at the day's sport.
Thank you, Kendall. Hello, everyone. In breaking news, the NRL has confirmed plans to restart the season. Let's go to League reporter Michelle Bishop in Sydney. Michelle, what's the latest?
Good afternoon, Paddy. Yes, we have a start date and it is ambitious, but it is May 28. We should have rugby league back playing somewhere. Now, some of the details, the finer details of just how that competition will look haven't been finalised. They'll be going behind closed doors and continuing to map that out, obviously, with the Players Association. But they are saying that player welfare is, of course, paramount, and they are aware that most players want to remain home with their families.
The details of the competition structure, we haven't got to that as yet because the landscape's changing very, very quickly in terms of protocols around what governments and government boundaries are.
Now, that does mean that they are steering away from the whole conference concept, moving right away from that one. Now, during that meeting, they were, I guess, a little bit shocked at news from Channel 9, one of their key stakeholders. Channel 9 launched a stinging attack on the governing body, furious at being left out of discussions over what the 2020 season will look like. They've also been scathing of the NRL management, saying the COVID-19 crisis has highlighted just how poorly the game's finances have been managed. So it's a very, I guess, a stretched relationship now with one of their key stakeholders and a big job for ARLC Chairman Peter V'landys to fix up. Paddy.
Michelle, thank you very much. Lots more at 6. Jockey Tim Clark's chasing the biggest win of his career on day 2 of the championships at Randwick on Saturday. In what shapes as the hottest race of the Autumn Carnival, Clark will ride the Hawks-trained Master of Wine in the $2 million Queen Elizabeth Stakes.
He's got a bit of an X factor about him. He's returning awesome form this time in. A step up for him. He's taking on the big boys and girls.
Queen Elizabeth is one of 4 Group 1 races on the card, and of course 7's live and free coverage begins at 11:30 Saturday morning. Reigning Supercars champion Scott McLaughlin is proving he's just as adept in the simulator as he is on the racetrack. It was a dramatic opening round of the Supercars E-Series last night. Spectacular crashes were the norm as drivers got used to racing from their living rooms. Fresh from winning a virtual IndyCar race, McLaughlin took out 2 of the 3 events. The Brisbane-based Kiwi star then sprayed champagne from the balcony of his home to celebrate. I'll have lots more on all those stories and more, a little bit of golf as well, my favourite, at 6 to 9.
Can't wait. Thank you, Pat. There's been an early Easter surprise at the Ipswich Nature Centre. A baby bilby has emerged from its mother's pouch. The baby boy was born in January, much to the staff's delight. The centre's breeding program aims to release bilbies back into the wild. And you'll be able to help pick a name for the adorable arrival. You can give your suggestions in a special post on the Ipswich City Council's Facebook page tomorrow night from 6 p.m. The weather for the Easter long weekend is coming up next. Also, the extreme heights one woman was prepared to go to see her mother for Easter. And the RSPCA's funny fundraiser that was a hit with pet owners.
On 7 News, Easter shutdown. Drivers on highways now being targeted. The rush for seafood, plus all set for church services online. The rescue plan for renters and landlords. A Brisbane dad's tribute to his son after a shark attack. And check your insurance policies now. Work from home families saving hundreds. 7 News at 6.
Good afternoon, Dave Andrews here in the Hyundai traffic chopper. Well, a fairly nasty police incident through Oxley this afternoon. Oxley Station Road is blocked at both ends between 17 Mile Rocks Road and Davies Street. We've got some diversions in place to get around it. A nasty crash in the middle of the intersection there and plenty of police around the whole suburb as well. Here's something extra from Hyundai. This April, get generous cash back across their award-winning SUV range. So if you're thinking SUV, think Hyundai. Have a great night. I'll be back to check the roads again for you tomorrow.
Home and Away is back Easter Monday at 7.
What are you doing here?
He stole his brother's wife.
I wanted to tell Ben that we slept together.
Now he's back for one more thing.
It's all becoming clear now why you're here. Money.
I've missed him.
Of course, family's everything to you.
Brotherly love comes at a price.
So how do I tell Ben that I've been lying to him our entire marriage? I think I might have made a mistake.
What?
If he finds out about us,
then we better make sure he doesn't.
Why do you feel like you have to blackmail me?
That's not how this is going to go.
Home and Away is back Easter Monday at 7 on 7.
Home for Easter means buns and fun. All day to play. Keeping fit. everyone doing their bit. Hidden places and smiling faces. It also means hot cross buns 4 to 9 pack varieties, excludes brioche and free from gluten, now just $3 each, save 50 cents. And fresh cooked large Aussie tiger prawns, now just $27 a kilo, save $3 a kilo. This year, more than ever, have a safe and happy Easter.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready, dog. Get ready. Ready, set, jump to the rhythm as hard as you can go. Ready, set, get ready.
Hyundai Kona. Way more fun than your car.
Because sometimes it's more than just growing pains. Bupa offers an online program to help you manage your mental well-being. Bupa, because life happens. Call today.
Hey, you there. Powerball has jackpotted to $8 million. Get moving. Grab your ticket now.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
What if you're missing information that could affect your child's future? Like important information about meningococcal disease. A rare but potentially deadly and devastating illness, most common in infants and adolescents. Missing information could mean missing out on a whole lot more. Speak to your doctor for more information on meningococcal disease and how you can help protect your family.
Pay less every day at The Good Guys. Online offer up to $100 store credit on selected portable appliances. This DeLonghi coffee machine $7.99. This air fryer $4.29. This DeLonghi coffee machine $8.88. Only at The Good Guys.
$60,000.
The risk
Look, I've chatted with the team.
is massive.
Really? Yeah. Really? Yeah.
Most teams wouldn't dare to do it.
Yep. No, I'm...
Will it smash the record books?
With a score like that, anything can happen.
The Chase, weekdays on 7.
This weather report brought to you by The Good Guys. Contactless home delivery now available. Pay less every day at The Good Guys.
Good afternoon, Queensland. You are watching 7 News as we come to you from the beautiful foreshores of the Nerang River here at the beautiful Gold Coast. A couple of showers about today. It looks as though we'll see a couple just hovering around the southeast coast, heading up towards the Wide Bay Capricornia coast tomorrow morning before filtering off by the long weekend, meaning we should be in for a fantastic Saturday and Easter Sunday. Let's take a look at the charts now. You can see an inland trough hovering through Victoria and also southwestern parts of New South Wales. That is bringing some storm activity to the region. A high has centred itself over Tasmania, bringing some stable weather to the region. That high tomorrow will shift to the northeast, and with that bring better conditions for us, particularly as we head in towards Saturday, but it'll lower the winds. Still a couple of coastal showers forecast as a trough pops off the central and northern coasts of New South Wales. So keep that brolly handy. If you're going camping in the backyard, put a tarp up. So we'll head around the nation now. A couple of showers to Sydney, 24 degrees. Also Canberra, 19. Partly cloudy for Melbourne and also fine for Perth and 36. Back to the tropics. Perfect day up north. 31 degrees for Cairns, 30 Townsville. Possible morning shower there and mostly clear for Mackay. Similar for Rockhampton and Gladstone. High of 28 degrees. For those on the range at Toowoomba, 15 to 23. Mostly sunny. Back home now, coastal showers forecast, 27 degrees the high, down to 18 to 19 tonight for Bayside and Gold Coast. Similar for the Sunshine Coast, 19 to 27 in the city. Slight chance of those showers, Kendall, making it in towards Ipswich, but quickly as they come, they'll be gone, leading to a pretty good weekend ahead.
For our holiday at home. Thank you so much, Bertie. Well, let's check tonight's news at 6. And Max, there's now help for renters struggling to pay their bills.
There is, Kendall. Renters and landlords can breathe a sigh of relief after the state government announced a new assistance package. Among the changes, land taxes will be waived, while evictions will be prohibited for 6 months. More details on how you can access help. We'll have that coming up.
Also, a brave Brisbane dad pays tribute to his son after a shark attack off Gladstone.
Yeah, that's right, Kendall. In this exclusive emotional interview, Zach Robber's father reflects on the amazing young man he raised, who lived life to the full and loved his job as a ranger.
And with many of us now working from home, it's a good idea to check insurance policies.
Yeah, time to revisit your home contents and car insurance. You may not realise it, but you could save hundreds of dollars on your insurance. We'll have those stories and plenty more coming up on 7 News at 6.
Thanks, Max. A woman has dressed up as the Easter Bunny to bring joy to her elderly mum at an aged care facility. Residents are kept at a distance from relatives to protect them from COVID-19. So Anita Breen hopped into a rabbit suit, then into a cherry picker to get close to her 88-year-old mother, Joan.
Yeah.
We love you all.
What's she say?
That's right.
Oh.
Okay.
Love you.
Bye. Yes, bye.
Bye.
This special Easter visit was a big hit with everyone. Let's check social media now. The RSPCA came up with a novel way of raising money while its centres are closed. For a donation, pet owners could get a portrait of their own pet. The catch? There was no promise the pictures would be done by a professional, and these are some of the hilarious results posted on the charity's Facebook page. The fundraiser was a hit. It raised almost $5,000. And the stars of the hit 80s and 90s sitcom Full House have made a new opening sequence for their show, updated with what they're doing while in self-quarantine. A few of the original stars are missing: Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, who played Michelle, and Laurie Loughlin, who is dealing with the fallout from the college admissions scandal. Don't forget, you can connect with us online anytime. Find our pages on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. That's all we have time for this Thursday. Thanks so much for your company. Be watching 7 News at 6 for the latest. I'm Kendall Gilding. Have a happy and safe Easter.